My name is Mary Malloy, and I'm the events manager for the Henderson Chamber of Commerce. And we want to thank everybody for joining us for today's Lunch and Learn, though it is remotely, still during the lunch hour, featuring Peak Performance Partners. And we'll hear from them in just a few minutes. And thank you guys for being with us today, and appreciate your time and the information that you're providing to our members and the community. Their company website, I'll drop into the chat box so that you guys have access to their information and learn more about themselves. And the webinar will be recorded, and we can send that out to you at a later date or later today when available. And we will be hosting a Q&A session, but that will be run by Peak Performance Partners. So I'll let them handle that. But I just wanted to say thank you guys for being with us, as well as our members. So with no further ado, I'll let you guys take over.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We're super excited to be here, and we wish everybody the best, and we feel like we're on the upswing to get out of this. And so I think this is the perfect time to start what we call sharpening the blade. I do want to introduce you to Peak Performance Partners, and this is our group. Together, we've got a combined over 141 years of business management, leadership, and entrepreneurial experience, ranging from executive roles with AT&T, Verizon, ILX Resorts. This group has started up divisions and companies that have generated hundreds of millions in annual revenues. Between all of us, we've started up 25 companies, sold multiple companies, and we're currently working with dozens of Las Vegas, Henderson, and Boulder City companies and business owners to help them develop strategies and measurements that gauge the effectiveness and the progress of these plans. Our motto is simply transform and elevate. What we're going to do today is we're going to talk about sales, right? We're going to be talking about what does it take to get into sales? What do you need? What are some of the tools that you can use to make sure you're effective and you've got a great process? We're also Kevin's going to spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, because that's, especially right now, it's a great tool to be prospecting your clients. And then we're going to talk about, at the end, the mental health. How do you stay in that right mindset so that you're getting the most out of your efforts? So with that being said, what we'd like to do is kind of do a quick Zoom orientation, and I'd like to just turn that over to Kevin and have him do that.
We are all learning this process together. So whether you're on a desktop, which is the slide that Patrick has up, let me just kind of orient you to your tools that run across the bottom. You have your mute, and do we have control of mute, or does everyone pretty much control their own?
They control their own.
All right, so the video, we do ask, and I think that you'll start to see the more that people are engaging on Zoom, you'll be asked to turn your video on. It's just appropriate, and it is professional as well. So you have the ability to turn your video on and off, and pretty much you can chat amongst each other or within the group, and there's opportunities to get your questions answered. If you're on an iPad or an iPhone, it's pretty much the same when it goes to the tools that you need or that you'll be using to either mute yourself, turn your video on. They can either, depending upon how your phone is sitting, they can either run across the bottom or they can run across the top. And that's it for Zoom.
Awesome, Kevin, thank you. A couple things, I found a couple funny memes, the trending close of 2019, and as we all have these now in our closet, the trending close of 2020. Obviously, we want to make sure our pets are safe. And this next one's my personal favorite, and I think we've seen a little bit of this. The new business casual. I think you guys can, I think I've seen a Zoom, a few people show up actually in this outfit. So it's okay, it's now available. These are our brands. I introduced you to the partners earlier, and each one of us will be taking a time speaking today. But we have Peak Performance Partners. We have the Alternative Board and Vistage, which are both peer advisory boards. And we also have Premier Business Mechanics, which we do consulting from. We're going to start today when we're going to talk about the sales process in the first section. So I want to go through this, and I want to ask this quick quiz. Are you going to rate yourself excellent or always, fair or sometimes, or rare or poorly? Excellent would be this, that your sales force is well tested, carefully scripted sales process. Their activity is coordinated in the appropriate CRM software, which means they report conversion rates, and these results happen weekly. You have existing clients are nurtured for more wallet share, and your sales force is compensated on their actual sales results. Or are you in the fair or sometimes range? Some of the sales team have some kind of scripted sales process. Their activity is coordinated intermittently with the appropriate CRM and the solution which enables them to measure and report conversion rates and results weekly. Some of the existing clients are nurtured occasionally for more wallet share, and salespeople's compensated is based on actual sales results. Or are you at the bottom? Poor or rarely. Those involved in the sales have no formal tested sales process. Their activity is not coordinated. It is not measured or managed on a regular basis. There's a large gap between high and low performers. And the sales force is compensated, structured around salary with little emphasis delivered around results. And no matter where you're at in this, there's always room to learn in sales, and that's what I love about sales. And I'll kind of this top right, when we talk about the sales funnel, and that what we want to take people, we want to take them from suspects to prospects to leads to ultimately customers. And just to the left of that, you'll see it says we want to take you from do you know me to do you like me to do you trust me. And when you find that trust, that's where the customer is, and that's where the money is. And then we always want to be looking at our key performance indicators, because as we say, what gets measured gets done, what gets incentivized gets done first. This is what an end-to-end sales process map looks like. And this is kind of mind-blowing. On the left, you have your leads, and then it goes through the whole sales process, circles back around. It can be very complex. But what we've done is we really have broken it down into 5 processes that for you to follow and create. Number 1 is your introduction. The introduction is the time when you're going to build rapport. And I would say now more than ever, empathy is going to be a huge part of that. You need to empathize and find out, hey, realize what are people going through? What's going on right now with them? The other thing that you want to do, and the goal in this time, remember, is to take somebody from they know you to they're going to like you, okay? And that's part of that process. You want to be prepared to answer. What do you do? A lot of times we ask people, we'll say, hey, so what is it you do? And they start fumbling around, right? And I think that's where we're always working on your elevator pitch. And that elevator pitch is simply, hey, you've got anywhere between 15 to 30 seconds to be able to tell somebody what you do. Now, when you're focusing in on that elevator pitch, we like to have you focus in on the benefits, not the features. A lot of times, for an example, you ask somebody, so what do you do? And somebody goes, I'm a physician. Okay, great. That doesn't really tell me what they do, right? Where if I say, hey, what do you do? And they say, you know what? I make people feel better. And then now that's going to get me to maybe ask the question, all right, well, what do you mean by that? Oh, well, here's what I do. And now they can go through kind of what they do. The next phase is the discovery phase. This is the question phase. This is where you want to learn. And I like to tell people to make sure, this isn't where you're selling. You're not selling your product in this phase. You're really asking the questions. You want to know, what is it about them? And is there really, does my product going to fit, or my service, is it going to be a solution for them? And I'm really looking for, is there a problem that maybe I have something, or I know of somebody who can solve that problem? So really you want to be that gathering and ask those questions. And when you're asking questions, you want to ask open-ended questions, meaning this, you want to say like, so how do you feel about, what's going on right now? So it gives them, so you can really understand, and it opens them up. The third part is your presentation. Now, this is where you're going to solve the problem that you've discovered during the discovery process. Okay. And again, the best way to present your product or your service is going to be through storytelling, because a story really will resonate with people. And I'll give you an example. If I were to tell you, hey, I increase sales, that when I work with businesses, I increase their sales. That's one thing. Or if I said this, you know what, I have a client, I've been working with them for about 10 months. A year ago, they did about 15,000. In January, they did 15,000 in revenues. This past January in 2020, they did over 257,000 in revenues. That kind of story is going to resonate. It's going to be a lot stickier in that sales presentation. And again, this is where you want to look at the features of the client, and you want to make sure that that client, the features that you bring, okay, and the benefits, that they see it as a benefit. For an example, if I'm a wig salesperson and I go to a bald guy and I'm like, hey, Kevin, do you want to look a lot younger? Look like you did back in the day? And I have these amazing wigs, and I'm going in and I'm just talking about it. And then finally he goes, you know, I'm not really interested in that. And so what I did is I talked about a feature that he saw no benefit to. So what you want to make sure is you want to go through your feature of your product, the benefit of the product, and then what I call the tie down. So then I'll kind of replay that thing as I said, hey, Kevin, have you ever thought about covering up that shiny dome of yours, you know, and have you ever looked into something like that other than a hat? And then he says, yeah, you know, I kind of have. And well, I have a different bunch of varieties. If I had something that just made you, that fit perfect, is it something that you like want to look at investing some money into? So, and then that's the tie down. So you got your feature, your benefit, and then your tie down. The next one is the trial close. This is what you always want to ask and find out, why aren't they going to move forward, and why aren't they going to do business with you? So when you're doing this, again, you're discovering the objections. Now we all know this. The two top objections are money and time. Okay, you're always going to get those. So those should be layups for you. When you hear an objection, you know what, I don't have the time, that one should be easy for you to isolate and overcome. Okay, but what I want you to do is this. The one trick I want you to start doing is, I call it the silver bullet list. It's 3 objections. That's a silver bullet is simply this. It's when you're going through your sales presentation and you say something and it instantly stops the presentation. That's the silver bullet. It killed the presentation. It killed the sales process. So you make a list of that, okay? If you're on the phone and you say, hey, hi, I'm Patrick. I'm calling from Peak Performance Partners. You got a couple minutes? They go, no, I don't have time. And then they hang up. That would be my silver bullet. All right, I got to get past that. So you want to create those silver bullets because you want to practice. In order to overcome an objection, you've got to realize, number one, if they're coming, if they're ones you didn't see coming, you got to realize, okay, hey, how did that happen? And then go find out a solution. And what you can do is you can reach out to people that are in your same industry to find out how did they overcome that objection. You can reach out to people in different industries and say, hey, I got a question for you. I was going through this and it just stopped the presentation. Can you help me? Why do you think that would happen? And then this last part is the close. What we find is this: a lot of people are just simply afraid or hesitant to ask for the order, to ask for a credit card, to ask for a contract. So this is, again, an area that you gotta, if you do struggle with that, what I wanna recommend for you is you practice, and you practice with intent. Meaning this, write out, what is your close statement gonna be? How can you get somebody, they're interested, you have a product that fits a problem that they have, they've already agreed to it, now you're moving there, and now it's time to push them over the edge and get them to sign up either for your product or your service. So simply start practicing things like that. And some good transitional statements are, okay, great. It looks like, you kind of answered all my questions. It looks like this is going to be a perfect fit. Here's kind of the next steps that we do to get started. What we do is we go through the application process. How would you like to set up payment? A lot of our customers will use a credit card or they'll do it direct, a direct wire. Which would you prefer? And that's what I call an alternate close, an alternate choice close. And I'm going to give you guys a quick story about that, my favorite alternate choice close. My son at the time, he's now 17, but at the time he was about 7 years old. And he came up to me in the morning when I was drinking my coffee and he said, "Hey, Dad, remember that BB gun you said you were going to get me?" And I go, "Yeah, I remember that, Brett." And he said, "Would it be easier for you to get it on the way to work or after work when you're on your way home?" So my two choices were that there was no third. I'm not getting a gun. It was simply, "Dad, which one are you going to do? Get it before or get it after?" And I like to tell people, I said, "You know what, son, probably after so that I don't have the gun in my car during the time." But guess what? He got his gun. Now what I'd like to do is we got about 2 minutes and I want to open it up. Are there any questions regarding the sales process? And then I can't see anybody, Kevin. So if you want to unmute and just ask me a question, we got about 2 minutes that we can do some quick questions. Anyone? Bueller?
Come on, challenge this guy.
It is hard sometimes to, you do have a big audience, but here's what I would like. If you do have questions, my email address is patrick.s@3-peak.com. patrick.s@3-peak.com. Please send me an email and I will gladly answer any questions that you have. The next one, we're going to turn it over to Ricky Navarre. Ricky, you there?
I am. Hey, everybody. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Nice. All right. Hey, great job. Do me a favor. I'm still seeing the sales process. Can you click it over to tools and resources for me?
There we go.
2 clicks.
Yes. Okay. I'm just super stoked. Thank you so much for so many people joining on. Thanks to the Henderson Chamber for putting this together. I want to introduce a few different productivity tools to help you with your business. The thing is, in reality, is software serves different purposes, and rarely does one software serve all purposes. It's kind of like how one of my buddies really put it. It's like using a Swiss Army knife, right? Yeah, it's got a screwdriver, it's got a saw, but is that the tool you're going to use for your construction project? Probably not, right? We're going to use the right tools to get the project done and get it done right. Same goes for the software you use. Interestingly enough, most people don't even have a CRM. Most people don't even know what a CRM is. And they're using Outlook as their one-stop shop to run their business, to set up their appointments, to track their customers. And for some that do have a software of some kind, they use one software to try to do everything that a CRM does and a project management software does, and accountability software and time and all that. And I guess one of the reasons we really put this in here, and I really want to share this and really emphasize this, is that we've been getting a lot of questions from so many business owners, so many people on the front lines in this time right now, right? And they're asking, what tools will help me manage my remote team? How do I set up a sales funnel and help automate it for my system and for my team and for my people? So to help out, these are some of the different softwares that we recommend. These are some of the industry leaders, and we'll kind of cover them. If you have any questions about it, please, definitely check them out. Ask us. We'll be happy to answer any question you might have about them. But I guess I'll really just start off, keep it simple. CRM. All right, what is a CRM? As you can read right there, customer relations manager. A CRM, in short, is your sales funnel, your sales pipeline. This is for your sales force. Okay, if that sales force is you, or if you have a team, your salespeople live and die by the CRM. All right, this is going to get you from prospect all the way to close. After you have your close, though, the next thing is project management. You got to have a good project management software. It's completely different because that's post-sale. Your project manager, this is going to help plan your projects, help you with scheduling, resource allocation, change management. Let's be real. A month ago, month and a half ago, if you're working on a project, everybody's in the office. It was easy to go, ask your colleague, hey, what about this? What about that? Get your question answered, get right back to work. Now we want things need to be more fluid and streamlined than ever, and so with project management software, it's really, really good to keep everybody, if you might have a project that will take multiple months, or if you have a project that have a lot of moving parts and have a lot of people involved on it, you want to be able to have checks and balances and points across the board that everybody can get it super fast, super easy, and stay on the exact same page, which really translates to better customer service. You know, you got a client, you have a customer who asks you, hey, what's going on with this? What's going on with that? What's happening with this? It's how incredible would it be if you had that, can come from that position and say, hey, oh, we're here, we're there, this is where we're at, here's what's going on, you know, and really put yourself so that you shine for your customers and for the projects that you're doing. Next is accountability. I don't know if you feel the same way that so many business owners are feeling, but they're asking themselves, am I losing productivity? Are the people, you know, is my staff being busy? Are we doing the best? Can I, you know, how can we do the best we can, right? So accountability software is really, really important. And this can help capture time spent on assigned tasks. Accountability software, you know, time-keeping software, time tracking software can be used to automate payroll, believe it or not, and to also help with client invoicing, right? So there's some really, really good stuff to check out. Check out Clockify. And the next one is not a software, but it is storytelling. We recommend you check out this YouTube video. It's super fast. It's about 16 minutes, give or take. But one of the things that I really want to share, coming from a sales background and working with so many business owners and business people, they ask this question: how do I really get engaged? Not only how do I get engaged, but how do I get them engaged? How do I get them involved? How do I get them drawn into my product or service that I want to offer to give them the benefit? Because sometimes you might have the most amazing product or service in the world, but they don't see it. They're not connecting with it, right? And if you're just spouting out stats and facts, oh, I've got the best widget in the world, and it does this, and it does this percentage, and blah, blah, blah. If they're not emotionally involved and engaged, you're missing the boat. You're missing such a huge opportunity there. So trust me, I know for some of you who are good at this, great. If you're not good at sharing your product or your services through stories and examples, then good news, it can be learned. All right, this is a great place to start. If we definitely share with a lot of our business owners how to do this, how this process works. If there's anything that we could use, you could use this for, please let us know. Talk to the chamber, reach out, let them know that's something you want to know more about. We'd love to expound on this as well, because this is definitely its own course in itself that could take up over an hour. But with that, know this: the more you practice it, the better you become, the more it just flows out naturally. So with that said, you guys, everybody, good luck, God bless, stay safe. Thanks again for the chamber. I'm gonna pass it back to Patrick and Kevin for the next half. Go ahead, you guys. Patrick, you're muted. We're still there it is, hold on.
This is
There you go,
time that I want you guys, I'm gonna give you less than a minute, pull out your phones and log on to LinkedIn. All right. Everybody got their phones out and ready to go?
You have to share your screen.
I am. All right. Let's see. Yes.
There you go.
Does everyone have their phone out? Got your phones in front of you? You're gonna need it. All right. Ricky, thanks for your part with the storytelling. It seems like when I was growing up, I'd always come into the house and start talking to my family about some scenario or interesting moment I had. The first thing my mom would say is, boy, stop telling that story. So I understand storytelling very well. And the 5 steps that Patrick covered, great information, the intro. And I'm gonna start it out with this. We're in compliance. Let me see if I can use these 5 steps real quickly. My name, and this is my sales crew. Here's what I discovered, which is step number 2. You cannot go out into our environment without the appropriate face covering. And look at these presentations. Aren't they great? Here's my trial close. I guarantee you, the first time somebody walks up to you and sneezes on your face, you'll wish that you had one of these to cover up all of that stuff. And let's see, you got a family of 5. You need one for each day of the week. That's 25. So gently pull out your wallet, give me that credit card, and thank you very much. That was great. It works. It works. But for this next section, LinkedIn. This is something that's near and dear to me. And does somebody have a question? Can you hear me? Everybody hear me okay? All right. So LinkedIn, 2018. I think somebody needs to mute there. 2018, I did not have a LinkedIn profile. And it wasn't until I moved from Orange County to Las Vegas before I understood the power of LinkedIn. And that's what I'm going to share with you all today. It's very, very relevant in this environment right now. And it's going to be even more relevant as we re-enter, the businesses re-enter the selling zone and things start to get back to normal. We've got 51 business owners in our community, and this is a testament to how effective LinkedIn is and how well it works. Over half of our members came from LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is never a cold call. I remember the first cold call that I did, and basically I got hung up on within the first 3 seconds. And I called back because I honestly thought that it was a bad connection. And when that person picked back up and heard my voice, hung up, I could hear him saying, "I hung up on you on purpose, jerk." So it's never a cold call, what I'm about to show you in LinkedIn. It truly is the best way to get past a gatekeeper. And the best gatekeeper can't keep me at bay for long. And basically, it starts with the profile. And I'm going to roll through this stuff fairly quickly because we're going to go live. I'm going to show you exactly how I prospect on LinkedIn and how well it works for me. So it starts with the profile page. Everybody has a profile page. It starts with a professional headshot. And just briefly, what the information that you can get off the profile page is what a person is currently doing, how many connections they have, who they can introduce you to. This is a continuation of the profile page, what type of activity they have, how many people are in their network, who they're following, their current and past work experience, all the way down to their education. And basically the reason I'm showing you this is you want nuggets. Think of LinkedIn as a plethora of information where you can go and start to pick little things. It's that 2 degrees of separation, little things that will make your conversation or introduction go that much more easy. Navigating around LinkedIn. The 2 buttons that you really need to be concerned with for prospecting are the home and the network buttons. It's what I call the search and discover buttons. Whether you're on a desktop, it's the exact same buttons. And the ABCs of LinkedIn is always be connecting. It truly is. Prospecting is building your network. And again, this is all in the free version. And it's something that, like, I've got 7,500 people in my network, and I'm very picky about who I put in my network. And it took me less than 11 months to do what I'm about to show you now. So again, the two screens that you can work from are the home and the network screens. Your prospect search begins at the very top line where it says search. This is a basic search. Underneath that line is the next set of filters. And basically it goes people search, and then you've got connections next. And you want to filter by first and second connections. I'm a first connection to all of you guys. Anybody that's in my network is considered a second connection. This is what a connection page looks like. And there's one more filter. It's the location filter. If you work in several markets, you can filter. And then lastly, I search for business owners and principals, people that are the actual leaders or owners of their business. So the business owner in people is who I'm looking for. And it all ends up in a title search. So what you're looking at is the end result, the silhouette that's to the right, for instance, right next to David Huso. That silhouette with a plus on the left side of him means that that's an opportunity to connect. If you get a silhouette with an arrow pointing to the right side, that is someone that's already connected with you, or you have to have premium. So let's go live. All right. Can you see that? Can you see that? All right, perfect. So remember, as I indicated, for prospecting in LinkedIn, it's the home button, which is the feed button. Whoever's posting in your network, that's where your feed shows up. And also my network. And that's important as well, because anybody that you reach out to, again, who likes a cold call? I do not. Anytime you reach out to someone through LinkedIn and they accept your connection, that's an invitation to begin a conversation. And just to quote from Patrick's earlier presentation, it's not a sales opportunity. It truly is small talking your way to your next best friend. So basically, I'm going to show you how I search. So as I indicated, I'm searching people. And I'm going first and second connection. Show results, location. I only am concerned with the Las Vegas market. That I was clicking my heels, in case you were wondering what that noise was. And here's potentials for me. So there's two things that I look at. I just don't start clicking because it's there to click. I definitely go in and I review. I take a couple minutes to review people's profiles. Again, it goes right back to having a professional headshot. If there's no picture in there, I'm less likely that person. If there's anything that's incomplete or it's not professional as far as I'm concerned, I'm less likely to connect. So I'm looking at mutual connections. I can actually go in there and take a look at people that person's connected with. I'm all about the activity, because once you start building your network, you definitely want your network to know that you're behind them and you're uplifting them, simply liking what they post if it's relevant, and it creates an opportunity for you to get in front of someone. If you lay on this button, there's several different, my partner said that he wanted to be curious. I started using this curious button, and I'm getting all kinds of crazy feedback on that curious button. So if you see me and I curious you know what it's all about. Going backwards, I'm going to take a look at anything that I can leverage to my advantage, whether it be his past history, anything that's school related. I even look at who endorses him, because again, if there is one nugget that I can start a conversation with, like, I worked with Chase. How awesome is that? That's an easier conversation to navigate and to begin than getting hung up on. Let me just tell you, it's way easier. And typically at the bottom, I truly go and look at people's interest, because again, for two reasons. Number one, is it relevant to why I want to get in front of that person? And two, I'm always open to learning new things. So, and I learn a ton of stuff when I start digging. I'm not a creeper, but I am curious. So let's go back to business owners. Let's just say I run out of business owners. Once you get to this section where it suggests try searching, there's other titles that are relevant to a business owner that interest me, a small business founder. So as you can see, I asked for the connection, and it's demonstrated by a check mark. And there's other people in here that I'm very, 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 I'm picky about who I allow in my network. And the object is, here's the one thing that I want everyone to take away from this. 5 minutes before you go to bed and 5 minutes when you get up in the morning, I want you connecting. Always be connecting. Find out who you want to get in front of, search them through LinkedIn, and start connecting. Notifications. I'm just going to cover this only because I'm curious why people are looking at me, which it will tell me. I've actually established some contacts with people that were looking at me to figure out why I was looking at them, if that makes sense. And so again, it's a great opportunity to, I know a lot of you know Amy. I love what Amy posts. She's very relevant to my business. And anytime I can uplift her, I'm going to. I haven't given her any attention in a while. Sorry about that, Amy. So again, she is so relevant with what she posts. And that's what you all need to be finding out and establishing in your network is, who are these people? What do they mean for me? How can I leverage who they are and what they do to get me closer to my goal? And my goal is to try to know people. Let's see, what else do I have for you?
Kind of go into like, how do you interact? So that's interact, and then how do you do a post?
Well, I didn't want to go that far, but I'll do.
Just show them a quick post, and then we'll open it up to some questions.
Okay, perfect. All right. This is an area that's interesting. Groups, you can actually take a look at groups that you want to follow. You can actually take a look at hashtags. I don't know if you guys knew this, but anything that's blue, you can actually click into, and you can actually go into a hashtag. I don't know if any of you done it. Shame on you if you haven't, because there's some true nuggets in hashtags. And when you've got under recruiting, if that's your deal, you've got 600 followers, why wouldn't you follow it? And so I'll go through and start looking at some of these things. And I'm like, what? How did I miss all those people? They look like fun people. So posting.
Or why don't you just show one of your posts, the post you just did on,
Sure.
and then that'll kind of show what that looks like.
All right. So to get to my own profile, you tap your face twice, and it takes you back to your profile. My dashboard, I've had 771 people look at my profile. Why is that relevant? I want to know who is checking me out, because there may be a connection there. And it's funny because like this person, the very first person, Kristen, it was 19 minutes ago, she was looking at my profile. There's something in everything. Jeff, I used to work with him. So I do a lot of back and forth. I take a look at links. 52 people looked at my links. Who are these people? These people are business owners. 4 of them were business strategists. 1 was a construction engineer. 15 of them were from Vegas. Again, I'm doing this all on the free LinkedIn, because if I didn't have free LinkedIn, I could look a little further. I've had 195 searches between April 7th and April 14th. And groups that are looking at me, let's take UNLV. If I'm not following them, I should. I simply follow them, and potential people or organizations that I want to be involved with, there could be nuggets there as well.
All right, Kevin, hey, I'm gonna rudely interrupt you because we
can't
got a
have
couple questions here. And Bill, I'm taking you off mute. Bill, you have a question for Kevin?
Yeah, I just noticed that, Kevin, you have a premium account. Is that something you recommend, or
No.
can you stay
And
on free account?
the only reason I have it is because evidently I have so much activity on LinkedIn. Somebody, a company basically is doing marketing as well as I am, and they have to have the premium. I don't use the premium.
All right, does anybody else have a question? You can use the raise your hand
Or
function,
just blurt it out.
or just unmute yourself and scream.
Hey, Kevin, I'm actually going to ask you to do me a favor real quick. One of the things I really like how you do is, can you also show everybody how to filter the search by, and you kind of mentioned it, but I wanted you to walk them through it, the titles of people, like owner, president, principal, that you
So
can actually
people-
filter people, CEOs.
So I can go CEOs,
how to get a little deeper there.
Thanks, Ricky. Good
right?
point.
CEOs, first and second connections, never third. Those are leftovers. Location. And again, if you have a presence in multiple locations, it will allow you to put up to 10 locations. Show results. What? I didn't connect with Kenneth? So this is always be connecting, right? Typically, and I don't really use the email deal because I think it's a little much. I have a whole separate messaging series that has worked very successfully for me. So I don't ever want to be invasive or seem like a pest, even though I am. But CEOs is one way that I can look. Founders, I found, also works. See, underneath Sue, co-founder, CFO. She's a CFO, not a CEO, but she's co. Co means I need to connect with her.
All right, Kevin, thank you so much for doing that.
I'm not done.
I know you're not done, and you can go on forever, and we appreciate that about you. What we're going to do now is we're going to actually go to Steve Hamili, who we've got here via. Where are you, Steve? You're somewhere in the world, right?
Here I am.
I'm here. Hello, everybody.
Nice, Steve.
I am
Welcome.
currently in. Hello?
Go ahead.
Disappeared on me. Can you see me?
Yep.
There we go. Yeah, I'm currently in Savannah on my way to Atlanta for a client, but what I think what you're bringing me to do today is some mindset, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, first, I'm sure everyone has their fair share of mindset. I'm not going to tell you that it's all rainbows and unicorns. All right. Nor am I going to tell you mindset exercises like journaling, etc. But what's most important is we're going to discuss what mindset does to your organization and why mindset is so important. When we consult, I've got the privilege of going out on our behalf of our company and consulting firms from 10 employees to thousands of employees. The first thing we do is understand their culture and their mindset. What exactly is mindset? Mindset is a series of thoughts and actions that define who you as a leader are, the decisions you make, the way in which you process, and how you're perceived by your organization. Now, why is that important? Well, because as leaders, your group relies on you. What you say, how you say it, the mood you set, how you process your information defines your culture. So write this down. Mindset creates culture, and culture creates mindset. What does that mean? Well, if you're a leader who's a bit sporadic, maybe off the cuff, but fair, your culture is going to become creative, a little bit avant-garde, but generally fair and following you. With that culture, now your new employees will be embedded in that culture and start to follow you. Now, can cultures change? Of course, but the leader has to be you. If you come in with a positive attitude in times of crisis, it shows your group that you're capable of handling crisis. Now, what's the difference between mere mortals and great leaders? Great leaders, fantastic athletes, world leaders all have mindset. Now, mindset just isn't being positive. Look at mindset as like mathematics. First, you learn addition, subtraction, multiplication. Then we get into trigonometry, geometry, and ultimately, this group would be the astrophysicist of mindset. It's a complex way of how you think. You don't even have to think. So now we're going to go into how this works. I know none of this has ever happened to any of you, but you're on the way to a cocktail party with your significant other, and you're talking about how fantastic this is going to be. I'm going to meet the guys. We're going to have a cigar, sit outside, have a little bourbon, and look at the view. And your significant other says, "Are you kidding? I'm going to go there, meet all these people that I haven't seen in a while. They're just going to complain about life. I'm going to have a miserable time." They're both right. They both created a preconceived outcome of an event that has not yet occurred, and both will be correct. Now, what does your mind know? Your mind loves you. Your brain wants you to be successful. The difference between us and your brain is your brain doesn't look at success as being financial. It looks as satisfying what you've asked it to do. If you ask it to be miserable, it will help you in any way it possibly can to get you there. So the change in that mindset of having positive mindset is what creates positive dynamics and positive motion. Another example. How many times have you heard, "Oh, the world is unfair. My competitors have taken everything away from me. I can't compete in this marketplace." Well, remember now, your brain says, "I better help you. I'm going to help you fail," because in that respect, it's success. Your brain also doesn't know the difference between today and the future. It doesn't know the difference between imagined and real. Example, test group, 20 people in each group. One was given a piano, real piano to play, taught to play a very simple tune. Repetitive, over time, they could play a small tune, they could hear it through the piano. Another group was taught to press the keys of a paper cardboard piano that made no sound and mirror the thought of those sounds in their mind. On their brain mapping, the two brain maps were identical with the amount of activity that takes place in the brain, which means that what you think translates to your version of reality. The imagined becomes the real. So let's take something like weight loss. How many people say, "I need to lose 30 pounds. I've got to lose 30 pounds. I'm 30 pounds overweight." Go ahead. There you go. Hey, I'm talking about myself. Well, now your brain says, "Okay." And you're saying, "Why aren't I losing weight?" Well, your brain says you need to lose 30 pounds. So when you go down to 28, I better get you back up 2 pounds because you need to lose 30. I've got you going the wrong direction. So what's a positive mindset? Pick a date and time. June 1st. June 1st, you say, let's say I'm 200, which I wish I were. It's June 1st. I'm 180 pounds. I feel great. I work out every day. Life is fantastic and positive. Now your body says, "Oh my gosh, I'm not 180 pounds. Let me get my owner, let me get my boss to his ultimate weight." Now, your brain loves you so much that it creates shortcuts for you. Within 6 to 7 weeks, you can map your brain to where it creates a shortcut to get you where you want to be. In other words, if you're miserable, it will help you get there very quickly. When you wake up in the morning, it will help you be miserable the moment you wake up. You will be cynical, and you will not think it's going to be a good day at all. On the other side, if you wake up with that smile and you're someone that has those rainbows and unicorns, or at least sees life through a different lens, it too will help you get there quickly. Now, some of the mindset exercises will help you get there, and we'll go through those in a moment. But why is this important? We'll go back to sales. In this time of crisis, your salespeople need your leadership and your support. They need you to be the one that processes information in a positive way, that always has a positive look on their face, because you are unique. Although you may not think so, whether you have 1 employee or 100, they look to you for guidance and security. And your security and the way in which you present yourself is your mindset, right? So what does that mean? Well, then a sales team, not we have to change this and do that. We are better because we are creative, we are charitable, we provide products that are superior. We speak in the present tense. There are 4 forms of where you live in your life. You either live in past negative, past positive, future negative, or future positive. Those are those that says, those were the good old days. It'll get better in the future. What you need to live in is perfect present or positive present. And a lot of that is using these mindset activities. So what are mindset activities? A lot of people talk about a gratitude journal in the morning. I've done it for 7 years, almost 8. Every morning you journal something in your life that you are happy for. It could be the same thing every day. The first 15 minutes after you wake up and the 15 minutes before you fall asleep are the 2 times in which your mind is most receptive to positive and negative input. So giving it positive input is extremely, extremely important. So promote that positive sales force with We Have Success. Recognize that the way in which you present your mind and your mindset matriculates down to every person in your community, and create a positive and forward-thinking culture.
Awesome. Steve, thank you. That was awesome. I got some good notes there. Thank you.
Very welcome.
What I want to do is does anybody have any questions? You can raise your hand. What we do is every time we do a meeting, we're very cognizant of the time. This was scheduled for 1 hour, so we've got 3 minutes until that hour's up. Now, we won't leave until all the questions are answered because we have time, but we want to respect everybody else's time. We definitely appreciate you coming, and I'll come back to questions. I just want to show these last 2 slides that I found. The first one is on the left. It says, what if we don't change at all and something magical just happens? I've sat in on a few of those board meetings.
Here.
And then the other one is, so who wants change, right? Everybody rallies. Who wants to change? I think that's a cricket flying above. And then who wants to lead the change? That obviously is none. Looks like we have a question here. I'm going to get to it real quick. Let me stop sharing. And so if you have a question, let's see.
Will there be a recording of this somewhere so I can share it with others?
Yes, this will be recorded. We will provide a copy of it to the Henderson Chamber, and I believe that they'll put it on in their library.
Yes, we'll email it out to everybody.
Awesome. There's Bill.
Oh,
Nice.
is Kevin really 66?
Does Kevin really need to lose that much weight, Steve? That's what it said. The COVID. That was kind of COVID sensitive, by the way, Steve, the weight thing.
I represent that remark.
Anybody, any questions? Well, we thank all of you guys for joining us. We're Peak Performance Partners. The one partner you didn't hear from, that's Grant. Grant is our CTO services. He's on the call, but he really does, helps companies and small and medium-sized companies with CRMs, with implementing software, with coming up with any kind of strategies and creating a holistic marketing approach online. And we thank you very much for everything.
Thank you, Mary.
And
Yeah,
Mary,
thank you.
Henderson Chamber, you guys rock. Thank you so much. We love it.